Here's your wrestling news for August 3rd, 2022. And we're kicking off today with WWE, as with the recent regime change, has come a change in promos. For years, promos cut by superstars have been heavily scripted, recited word for word, which has led to widespread criticism from fans and wrestlers alike. Now though, that's all changing, as PW Insider reports that WWE is allowing superstars to speak freely on the mic, allowing them to improvise more and come up with their own lines. The change was said to have been brought in several weeks ago, possibly between Vince McMahon's decision to step down as CEO and chairman and his decision to retire. One example of this change was possibly during last weekend's SummerSlam, where Drew McIntyre cut an improvised-style promo while interacting with a kid in the crowd. It's not just the promos which have more freedom, as the report adds that the recent Donnybrook match between McIntyre and Sheamus was mostly called in the ring, instead of the WWE formula of laying out a spot-by-spot sequence ahead of time. These changes will no doubt go down well with fans and superstars who grew tired of hearing bland scripted promos and seeing cookie-cutter matches, and it goes to show that this new regime is indeed changing the landscape of WWE. For years, we've heard about WWE morale reaching all-time lows as superstars have had to see their friends be released, all in the name of budget cuts. A stagnant creative and lack of pushes for many superstars only added to that low morale, but a lot has changed over the past month. With Triple H now in charge of WWE creative and talent relations, it's been reported that there's a newfound sense of optimism among the roster, and it hasn't taken long for those within the company to see things improve. According to Sean Ross Sapp behind Fightful's paywall, the rosters across WWE are pretty pleased with how things are looking, especially after a well-received SummerSlam. Even people not on the show seemed excited. We heard from numerous wrestlers across multiple brands that have indicated that they have a renewed optimism with Triple H heading up creative. One NXT talent said that Dakota Kai being brought back so quickly was a great sign and makes them hopeful for their future as well. Kai was released in April after WWE made it clear to her that they did not see her as a main roster talent, forcing her to tell the company she planned on not re-signing, but that was all under the Vince McMahon era. With Kai on the main roster and this week's Raw seeing Ciampa getting a push and a focus on the women's division, it's not hard to see why many are optimistic about the future of WWE. Since Money in the Bank, Liv Morgan has been riding high as SmackDown Women's Champion and was able to retain her title, albeit in controversial fashion, at SummerSlam. Controversy or not, 2 wins over Ronda Rousey is a huge thing for Morgan, but this push wasn't always the plan. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said how before her push, there were plans to involve her in a storyline with the Judgment Day, which was teased earlier this year when she aligned with AJ Styles and Finn Balor before the latter's heel turn. Those plans were dropped when WWE decided to move Morgan to SmackDown and push her to the moon, thanks in part to the absences of blue brand babyfaces Sasha Banks and Naomi. It remains to be seen which female superstar gets recruited to stand up to Rhea Ripley in the Judgment Day, as right now it's Edge of the Mysterios, but given how her career has gone over the past month, being pulled from this angle definitely paid off for Morgan. It was earlier this year that Keith Lee debuted for AEW after a dominant run in WWE NXT and a mixed tenure on the main roster. Since then, Lee has become an AEW World Tag Team Champion alongside Swerve Strickland, but he may already have plans for After the Ring. Lee was in attendance at the recent UFC 277 event in Dallas, Texas, and when spotted by Mark Raimondi, the AEW star thanked Tony Khan and Dana White for the seats and said that he has acquired an itch that he may need to scratch eventually. The Limitless One was obviously teasing a possible jump to MMA, which would put him in a class including Bobby Lashley, Batista, Brock Lesnar, and AEW's Jake Hager, but time will tell whether he ever scratches that itch. Now a ton has changed in WWE since Vince McMahon retired, with Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Triple H now running the shows. With Vince gone, the landscape of wrestling has truly changed, and that could be bad news for AEW now that many wrestlers see WWE as a much more enticing decision than previously thought. Sitting down with Sports Grid, AEW President Tony Khan addressed the changing landscape and remained positive about how WWE's regime changes will benefit pro wrestling. It's going to change the competition, but I think that's a good thing. AEW's got a big fan base. We're on in 130 countries now around the world, and here in the US, we've built a great fan base, and the competition is going to change. It's a different person in the chair opposite me, but I don't think that's going to be a bad thing for the wrestling fan necessarily. I think that wrestlers leaving AEW for WWE has always been a concern, but now probably more so than ever. I imagine great wrestlers are going to be in demand. And again, I think this is probably going to be good for the wrestling fans because that's one of the most exciting things about pro wrestling, free agency. It's one of those things that was really missing from the sport for almost 2 decades before AEW came in because there was not a legitimate competitor in the free agent market, and now there is. I think it's going to be some exciting times ahead, hopefully for many years to come. One of the worst things that happened, I think, in American sports in my lifetime was when WCW closed down, and there should always be another national wrestling company. From the outside, Khan seems thrilled that WWE's regime changes will lead to better pro wrestling for fans, but with WWE looking more enticing and several AEW contracts expected to expire this year, the AEW president may soon be facing some incredibly tough decisions. More from AEW Next as Parker Boudreaux made his debut last month as part of a taping of Dark, and now the former Harland has gotten in the ring. During last night's tapings for Dark, Boudreaux made his wrestling debut, defeating Serpentico. Boudreaux made quick work of Serpentico, and after this performance and honing his skills on the indies, it may just be a matter of time before he becomes a regular on Dynamite. At SummerSlam, Edge made his return to WWE, attacking the Judgment Day for taking him out of action a few months earlier. Fans were thrilled that Edge returned with his iconic Metalingus theme, but his look had many fans thinking of another hit show. On Twitter, Edge's short hair, beard, and sunglasses drew comparisons to PC Principal from South Park, and many fans are having trouble unseeing this image. No matter how Edge looks, it's great to see him back on TV, as the Rated R superstar has vowed to end the Judgment Day once and for all. Now, it was recently reported that Ciampa has impressed people backstage with his willingness to go along with plans for him on the main roster, including dropping his first name. After years of working as Tommaso Ciampa, WWE ditched the former NXT champion's first name as part of their rule of getting rid of any part of a superstar's real name. While many fans would hope to see the Tommaso name return, which seems more possible in this new era, the Blackheart himself isn't bothered. When asked by Wrestling Inc., Ciampa said he's fine just being known by the one-word name, and said that Ciampa is his godmother's name, so it still carries a lot of significance. Whatever Tommaso Whitney gets called on WWE TV, he seems to be in line for a major push in this Triple H era, so we may be calling Ciampa champion soon enough. More from Triple H now, as we've already mentioned that the current roster is optimistic, and it's not just those working in the ring right now who are pleased. In recent years, we'd heard reports of Vince McMahon tearing up scripts often an hour or two before WWE shows were due to go live, forcing the writing team to be rushed into coming up with something new. During his Click This podcast, Kevin Nash spoke about Vince McMahon's attitude behind the scenes and expects much better from his friend Triple H. Vince will fucking not have the show done. I remember when I was working with CM Punk, and Paul and I would just be sitting there, and of course, it didn't affect me because they gave me no fucking verbiage. They wanted the basic bullets, and we just look at each other, and the pyro is starting, and we don't even have, "I'll see you out there." I think one thing guaranteed that happened this Monday was that it was, people knew probably by 5 o'clock, people had a concrete idea exactly what was going to fucking happen in the Garden. Vince McMahon may have built himself a wrestling empire, but a lot of his decisions rubbed people the wrong way. And Nash is confident that some of the ex-chairman's more eccentric, more infuriating antics won't be repeated by his son-in-law. And we're ending today with Becky Lynch, who has never shied away from taking aim at anyone in WWE. At WrestleMania 35, Lynch won both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships, but isn't the only superstar to have held 2 championship belts in recent years. When the WWE on Fox Twitter account asked who is the better dual champion, Lynch or reigning undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, the man didn't hold back, saying she's better because during her reign, she showed up to work. It's no secret that Reigns has a lucrative deal with WWE, one that has seen him go for weeks or months without wrestling. Reigns' next title defense is expected to be at Clash at the Castle on September 3rd, which odds are will be his next match period, as fans could be looking at a month-long wait, something that Lynch clearly isn't impressed by. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.